Viva Las Vegas footy fans, get your betting apps open, get your footy apps open, and most importantly, get that Supercoach team ready to go, because can you believe it, we're already back here again. Time is crazy, we're all going to die very quickly. But this ain't just any old round one tips, because this ain't the round one tips, this is the biggest season opener of all time, so we need a dedicated video, because this weekend it finally happens, the back-to-back opener for the NRL season of 2024. Dare I say, one of the most hyped seasons of all time, because this season is going to be so bloody close. We're in Vegas, the chance for the NRL to absolutely destroy the sporting world once and for all. The Americans are going to absolutely froth on it. Will they? Will they won't? I have an old video for that, so go and check it out. But we're here to talk about the games themselves. The Manley Seagulls taking on the Bunnies, and the Chookies taking on the Broncos. The four biggest clubs in the NRL have gone to promote the best game on earth. And while we can set it up however we want, what needs to happen is for these games to be absolute belters. And the rugby league tragic in me thinks that we might just be getting that, because the two matchups are between teams that I think are very even in terms of what they can do this season, and I do think that all four of these teams are very much smokies for that top four spots. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. What are your tips for the Vegas games? And let's kick things off with Manly and the Bunnies. This is the game I'm most excited for. Obviously, I am a Manly fan, but these two teams have a lot to prove on. They both had massive expectations and both massively under-delivered. Manly had a lot of injuries, and South, they had their problems off the field as well. But that slide at the end of last year was, in all fair dinkum, one of the most embarrassing things we've seen in footy for some time. So they'll be hoping to snap that losing streak, both of these teams. Sort of in a similar situation, they've got some massive star power. Both of these teams have multiple players you would class in the top tier of their positions. And they both, I think the main complaint is if they need to stay healthy, and then their middle forwards lack a bit of depth. And both teams' depth is going to be tested. The Bunnies are without Jack White and Campbell Graham, most notably. Cody Walker will be fighting the clock to play, and Manly, they're without Sipley, they're without Matty Lodge, who, let's be fair, wouldn't be playing in Vegas even if he was fit. So the Bunnies' outside back depth is definitely getting tested, more so than Manly's, but this matchup is going to be so exciting. And both of these matchups, the matchups between the fullbacks, you could make the argument that they've taken the four best fullbacks over there, and I wouldn't argue a bit. This game has the two boys that have the most X factor, and probably the two players most important to their respective teams in the entire competition. Tommy Turbo coming back from a long layoff, and Latrell Mitchell had a very disappointing end to 2023. He seems to nearly every single year, and then he got that suspension, which you could argue cost our senior final spot. So this game is going to be absolutely incredible. You've got the young number 7, Lockie Ilias. He's trying to fight for a spot, and he's going up against probably the second best halfback in the world. DCO, in his last footy game, actually got embarrassed by New Zealand, so he'll be back trying to prove that he can still do it at the best level in the sport. Luke Brooks' Manly debut. I hope that every footy fan is excited to see what he can do, and I am too, obviously being the Manly fan that I am. It'll be interesting to see how all four of these teams adapt. Obviously the narrower field and just the whole spectacle. I mean, it's a field that they've never played on before, obviously, and I wanted that to present some interesting challenges, and it might just even up that battle in the halves. If Cody Walker doesn't play, that advantage in the halves for Manly is going to be over the top. But in saying that, Brooksy and DC have never played together. We're all presuming that it's going to work, but it might not, and it certainly won't be at 100% this early on. But both teams have their superstars fit. South's depth is getting tested a little bit more. We'll have to wait till the game to see what team runs out. And for that reason, I'm going to go with the Manly Seagulls. I don't think it's going to be 68-6 or whatever the trial match score was. I think it's going to be a very close competitive game, but I just think that if Cody Walker is going to be missing, that experience in the halves is going to be the key. The forward packs could also be a big deciding factor, like I just said. Both teams have a bit of question marks around their forward pack. Obviously, both teams have the arguably best locks in the game between the two. So I think that matchup is pretty much even as well. You probably give the edge to Cameron Murray, you give the edge to Damien Cook over Lockie Croker as well. Big year for Cookie, but I do think that Manly can get the W. But like I said, that forward pack battle may decide the game. But I do think that Turbo and Trell will just cancel each other out a little bit, and that experience in the halves for Manly, while they never played together, without Cody Walker there, I think Manly will get the job done in this one. It is Vegas, so we'll put a scoreline on it. I can see this one being very high scoring. It'll come down to execution because I do think that both teams have a lot of edge combinations that they need to work out. Manly obviously have a brand new best 17, while South Sydney are going to be lacking some cohesion on their edges because every one of their best centres and wingers is bloody injured. So I can see this being high scoring, especially as the game goes on. So I'll go 26-20 and I'll give the edge to Manly just purely on that halves, especially if Cody Walker is out. If Cody Walker is in, then I can see why people would go with South Sydney, but I'm never not backing the boys in Las Vegas. But then we move on. The team that probably disappointed most besides South in 2023 despite making the 8 again, the Sydney Roosters, they're taking on last year's grand finalists, the Brisbane Broncos. This is the first game they've played since they let a premiership literally not just slip, they threw that thing away to Nathan Cleary. Nathan Cleary literally just intercepted that trophy and took it back to Penrith. So the Brisbane Broncos, they've got a lot to play for this year, and we've got a video coming out later this week about them. Even in their lean years, the Brisbane Broncos are notoriously fast starters, but the Sydney Roosters, they're the complete opposite, but Tedesco and Robbo have both been adamant that that's where they need to improve in 2024. And the Roosters, outside of Dom Young, I think they've got their best team on paper. So it's going to be a matchup nightmare in some places for the Brisbane Broncos, but I just think that we know what the Broncos are going to offer, and maybe those edges, their new combinations between Corey Oates coming back in and Selwyn Cobbo moving to the centres, that may cause, a bit of a target for the Sydney Roosters to go there. But if there's one thing I've learned from footy tipping the past few years, more adamant than ever last year when they lost to the Dolphins, is that tipping the Roosters in round one is a death wish. So I'm going to back the Brizzy Broncos. I think they do get the job done in this one. They've also got the experienced half. I know Luke Keary has been the Roosters for a while, but I am begging for Sam Walker to take that chief playmaker role. I think Reece Walsh is in for a huge game. The NRL will be hoping that if anyone is going to light up Las Vegas, it is Reece Walsh, because he is the biggest superstar the NRL could ever have if he lives up to expectations. So I do think this will be a cracking game. I don't think we'll be seeing as many points as we do in the Manly South game, because I do think that these two teams are probably just a level above Manly and South Sydney on paper. So I'll go with the Brisbane Broncos. I'll take him 18 points to 16. We'll say Sammy Walker misses a conversion. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my tips for the Las Vegas games, the season opener for 2024. I'm taking the Manly Sea Eagles over the Bunnies 1-12 and the Brisbane Broncos 1-12 over the Sydney Roosters. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your tips are for Vegas in that comment section. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.